For all. Thank you. Okay,
Scott, did you handle
are
that?
there any changes to the agenda this evening?
No.
Okay, we're having a, sorry,
Add an item to the agenda, probably under new business. To discuss going forward handling of proposals. Changes that have a major impact on the town.
okay. Number 3 in new business. Anything else? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is in the back of each agenda posted in this meeting room and on our website. Public input for 3 minutes. Seeing no one, we will close the public input. We don't have any appointments. We will go right to new business. Number 1, New Hampshire Electric Co-op, right of easement for poll licenses. You doing, Scott? Come right on up.
Hey, Scott.
So this is I'm not sure how they've done this in the past. This is the first one that I've had that came to me. So I had been working actually with Nick Cavolius, I guess that's how you say his name, he's a design technician for New Hampshire Electric Co-op. They've been trying to make that full circuit for trash side. The load down there is quite heavy for the one line going down, and they want to make it so they can loop it and then have less interruptions or power outages and be able to have continuous power. If in fact a section goes down, they can still feed it from the other end and be able to shut it off. So it'll allow them to go both ways.
Okay. Seems
Quite appropriate. The poles are, as you can see in the diagram there, are actually within the right of way. That way he has been in touch and conversed with the property owners down there as well, because he wanted to actually do it a little bit different, but the property owners weren't excited about having the poles in their yard. So this is what he came up with. So I told him I'd send it up to the board.
Okay. And this is going from Trash Side Road to Fort Point Road, is what it's saying.
Yep.
This will benefit the residents down there.
Yeah, everybody down there. I mean, he's told me that they've had a number of outages because there's such a load. And it's only fed in from one area.
That makes
So,
sense.
He said also with the storms situation as well, there'll be less chance for extended outages, because right now it takes out the whole road if in fact something goes down, because it can't be fed in from the other direction.
We experienced that significantly twice on 2 weather events in that same location where they took trees down that wrapped.
Yep.
Because I get photographs from those roadways where they took transformers down. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we authorize a right of easement for pole licenses for the pole locations proposed in this document on Trash Side Road.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion?
Can we trade them this for moving that pole on Stockbridge Corner?
They don't own it.
Just kidding.
Eversource does, but, and maybe it's at the chair to sign on this one, just because I only see one spot for signature, but I don't know how you guys.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, motion on the table, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. Okay, Pearson Road Community Center roof replacement. Scott, that's you again.
Yeah, this was an item that had actually I'd worked with Kelly on initially, because she brought it to my attention and we've had a number of leaks up there. The roof itself has, some of the sections are older than some of the other sections just because of the way the building was constructed in phases. And so we did set aside funds this year in the capital reserve fund for this purpose. And indicated that this is one of the projects that we wanted to initiate in the first instance. The prices came back a little bit more than what we had initially set aside. So with that, I mean, it's on the low bid here. It's $1,780 more. And I would recommend to continue to move forward, but take those funds out of the operating budget for the Pearson Road building maintenance for this purpose. Be nice to get this done before winter. We had some issues during the winter. And I know that we've had to make repairs because of skylights leaking, all that. So I think it'd be great to get it buttoned up.
Have we had New England Roofing from Rochester do anything before for us?
Not that I saw. They've got quite a list of.
I do.
communities.
I read the
I
rest.
saw the recommendations.
Are they all apples to apples, all the estimates? I briefly read through them. I'm sure you guys have a little. more
Yeah, we
knowledge
did
than
end
I
up
do.
going back to one of the vendors to have them refigure it because there is a small roof that hangs over the
Yeah.
kitchen door. And that has sustained some damage at some
In the
point.
trim?
Yeah, the trim and I think what happened was either a delivery truck or sander truck or something there hit it and tweaked it and has pulled it from the building. It needs to be resecured, the siding repaired. It has to be shingled anyways. So we did add that in and we did have one of the vendors refigure their number. But everybody else gave that as part of this overall
Yes.
same proposal. Same type of layout as far as the type of shingle, and also ice and water shield as well, so.
Yeah, that's
So pretty much they're all apples to apples right now.
They
All
are.
the-
How's the availability? Did they all say that they could do it before fall?
Yeah, matter of fact,
If it's on New England said they could
New
start
England
it
said
within
they'd
30
be-
New
days.
England said within 30 days or sooner. They were one of the
Did
few.
Paragon have a time that they could start theirs?
I think they did.
don't
That's what I did.
I am more apt to give it to somebody in Alton
I
over
was,
seven
that's why
hundred
I'm
dollars.
asking. I mean, I would rather see somebody in town get it.
Normally, a lot of times we do.
But if there's something in there that overrides the other one from the other one. then
They
I'm not-
both require 50% down.
I
At signing.
do like the idea of keeping it in town.
Does that, did
If
we
we
only,
can,
did
if we
we,
can.
did we only go with New England Roofing because they were cheaper, Scott? That's the only reason we went with them?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to go with, they've got great references. We haven't had any experience with Paragon roofing. So I don't have any pros and cons relative to that.
Didn't they do that- didn't they
and
do the fire station?
Yeah, they
Town hall.
Yep.
Paragon did?
and
So,
I personally know.
yeah, I mean, like I say, it was because of the price
Mhm.
and that I only have so much money and so that's.
Right, no,
Be honest with you, and they
understandable.
apples to apples and,
that's why I asked if you'd ever used, I don't remember ever using New England Roofing for anything.
since I've been here, I mean, and once again, I guess you guys have used them already up on the town hall roof, so.
Paragon, yeah, not.
Paragon.
Paragon, yes.
England, I'm not familiar with. maybe.
No, I'm not either.
So is
Do
there-
we have any guidelines or practice outline in terms of awarding a local firm a contract because they're local, even though they may be higher priced as long as everything else is equal?
Yes, we have a policy that's written that the board has the authority to override or accept or reject any bid offered
Yeah, I
for
understand
any
that.
reason. And some of the examples are one, lack of references or sometimes they have had a subpar experience with a certain company. Or, but the board has retained by policy the right to reject any bids and accept any bids.
Well,
Um,
if everybody's kind of
I
on
look-
board with trying to give it to a local contractor. I mean, does anybody have any opposition to that?
I am okay with that because all of them are
It's
comparable.
close. I know
They're
it's
all three of
close,
them.
but-
All three of them are using almost the same materials.
Yeah.
They explain it the same way. Their estimates look good.
If there was ever a problem, I know Paragon's been around for a while and, you know, the warranty, they'll be right here in town. I mean, does anybody else have any problem with that?
No,
No, and there's no problem.
I was gonna bring that up anyway, because I think if we can give it to local people, I think we should.
Generally, we try to.
So
It's only $800.
It's $800. It's only $800.
Let me ask you, before we do, do you have any reason not to? And that's, I mean, we'll take your,
You were just automatically going with the lowest bid.
just
So I-
going with the lowest bid. All right.
I
Okay.
don't want to be that guy that gets talked about, so that I'm out just.
all right.
Okay,
You
I-
folks, my opinion is you folks set the policy and dictate as to how you want to
Yeah.
handle that.
Right.
We
okay.
just bring
So
the we bring the.
generally, we
recommendations.
would like to try to stick with people in town.
If it was
Couple, yeah.
Then we'd be, but for $800, I'd rather give it to somebody
Alright.
that.
So
pays
in the
taxes.
past, that has happened when it was a ridiculously large amount
Yeah.
of money in between, then we gave it to
I
someone
don't think
else.
$800 is enough to say, no, we're not gonna
Okay.
give it to a local.
So entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give the bid to Paragon Roofing as opposed to New England Roofing for the replacement of the roof at Pearson Center, the community center.
And do you want to,
The amount.
In the,
Wanna
I'm
use the
sorry,
amounts?
in the amount of, let me switch pages. Hold on. Is it, yep, in the amount of $32,570.
do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Are we okay with the condition of the skylights there? I see they all quote on reflashing them,
Right.
but they're sound enough, so that's all they need.
Mhm.
Yeah, the skylights themselves appear to be in good condition. They're not fogged, the glass hasn't, done any of that, those issues there. It does add because I went back and forth as to whether or not you just take them out and frame them back in and just call it a roof, but it does add some additional
Lighting.
light in there. And the seniors are, I know I like light better than darkness, so.
Which is
How old-
traditionally, if you're doing a roof and you have skylights and the skylights are not failing and the glass is clear, you generally would replace the flashing while you're doing a new roof.
Yeah.
You want to replace that flashing at that same time.
For sure.
And the same thing with, if you read through it, it also has the boot covers that go over any pipes or any penetrations. They all get replaced. That's general practice, good practice to do that.
And also, do we get to pick a color?
I think, well, you can if you'd like. I mean, we went with what was traditionally up there, which was
Black,
it's black, but.
I think it's
it has a
black
little
or
bit of gray.
black blend,
Usually,
black or a black blend.
there's a charcoal gray, which is a black base with gray speckles in it.
That's the other one, a black blend, depending on.
I basically had told them to try to match what was currently there.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number three, a new business, proposals, on actions. If I'm reading that the way you described it,
Oh, that's mine.
that's yours.
Yeah, I was not comfortable, although I voted for the move that we made to adjust salaries at the last meeting. And primarily because I can't think as quick as I used to, and I realized after I voted and the meeting was all over and everything was said and done, that I had some questions that I failed to ask. Every question I asked got answered and it was a satisfactory answer. But there were some things that I thought of later. And then I got thinking that that's really a major step. And I wonder if we might want to consider some kind of a policy where either we had additional data prior to the meeting or did it in two meeting steps so that we have some time to reflect and maybe even talk to constituents.
If you remember, I mentioned that myself, if you remember at the same time, it wasn't on the agenda and it was spoken to
It was on the agenda.
It was on the agenda, but not
Talking
in
about
great detail.
The TA.
Oh, okay.
The TA one was the 4-day one.
The 4-day one.
4-day
Okay.
swap. What
Yeah.
he's talking about is the 10%.
The 10%. Well, that one was on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on the, unless I misread it, it wasn't there, it said 10% increase. It just said enhancements or something to that effect.
Yes.
Oh, the only reason it didn't have a number on it is because we could have changed it on the floor.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? That's,
As I said, I voted for it and then I thought afterwards, maybe we need to look at critical issues like that in a little more detail.
Mhm.
Or with a little bit more. heads
Having a
up
little more
or
time.
I don't know what you want to call it, and I'm stumbling over my own words. One of the things I thought about, I went home and I said, did I just vote to give myself a 10% raise? I'm not even sure. But if I did, I don't deserve it.
one of the things, if I may just throw out there, is the one thing that the board always has the option to exercise, which, I mean, you're more than welcome to set a policy if you want. The policy is kind of hard. When you're saying major items, there's some discretion in that.
Oh, for
Who's gonna
sure.
make that decision?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is it me, or am I running items by the board and then coming back for another meeting? Because one of my main objectives, obviously, is to keep business flowing.
Yep.
I'm not trying to run anything by anybody or anything like that. But I'm trying to keep things moving, keep topics moving. That's why the agendas are getting smaller and smaller, because we're getting through items. But one of the things that the board always has the opportunity to exercise, and I would encourage you maybe putting an emphasis on that, is that you can table any item that you choose to table.
right.
And I would say that if we come to an item where, for instance, in your view, maybe it's a little more significant than where I'm coming from, or I may think it's more significant than you think it is, but at that point in time, that's an item typically that the board would during discussion say, I think there's a lot to think about here. We'd like some more information. I want to table this item for a meeting or two. I
Which
know
we
that
have done.
maybe you haven't experienced that yet, maybe on the board where we have done that exclusively,
We have.
tabled in one, but it's very effective in situations like that.
Yeah.
And that's obviously something we could do at any time, and we chose not to do.
Okay, well, maybe that's the solution. They would just,
Well, and that being said, the rest of the board has to still agree with tabling it, so.
That's right.
Oh,
It
sure.
still has to
Yeah.
take a vote to table.
But then that way it's not a one person's perspective on how important that item is or not. It's a board collective, like a consensus.
Yeah.
That we're gonna table it. You don't even take a vote on it. You can just take a consensus to table the item. And also direct me to pull any more additional information that you'd like.
yeah, we'll figure out a way to saddle you with something.
Okay. You good, Richard?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, old business, Water Bandstand Committee, Water Ski Show request. This is, again, on August 19th. The Water Bandstand Committee will be holding an annual water ski show. And in order to provide adequate parking for the main attraction, we need to reserve the following parking spaces: 4 by the boat ramp and 3 at the community center. In addition, we will need to have 2 finger docks that are beside Shibley's that they are requesting the permission for. And those are the things, the same areas that
Same
we do every year.
So we've
Same
done
spaces
this every year.
The boat ramp gets closed down. It gets closed down for the period of the ski show only. When, as soon as the ski show is over, it's opened back up to the general public. And those parking spaces are taken by because there's so many people that come to that show that are in the show. They need, like, well, I already said it on here, quite a few spaces. So it's the same as the last couple of years.
I make a motion that we accept the water bandstand committee, water ski show request. We make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
Let them do their thing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The only one thing I'd like to add to that, if I may, which is still the Water Bandstand Committee. It was brought to my attention, the 2 signs that are on the Water Bandstand are not readable. The selectmen signs kind of needs 2 new signs. I don't know if we have any in stock or if we have any, but there's 2 signs, one on each side of the Water Bandstand, and it's so faded you can't read it anymore. It's just per order of the selectmen, no trespassing. And you can't read them anymore. So if we happen,
So now's my chance to go on the bandstand.
now's your chance to go on and have a
Rock,
rock.
you got your boat in the water?
Just barely.
Let's go.
Last weekend.
Let's go.
But there's usually one on each side of at the entrance to the water bandstand.
Andy, you can water ski, can't you?
Okay. Selectmen reports. Richard.
Budget committee, not yet begun their activities. The hazardous waste operations are going well. And I think our next one is on the 19th of this month in Wolfboro, and then there's one in early September in Alton.
Hey, thank you. Nick.
The ZAC committee meeting was canceled due to not having a quorum, the second one. I have a planning board meeting coming up, I believe, in a couple weeks, and everybody's gearing up for Old Home Week. They're super excited. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I had talked to Mr. Sample, and car show stuff's kept coming together good. The cookout, everything's looking good.
Awesome.
Are we riding or walking in that?
You
parade?
want, I thought we're gonna take cars.
Yeah, we're taking cars. We're
Okay.
I was gonna bring that up in my report too,
Okay.
just to confirm that.
we'll bring that up.
But
Andrew.
CFP got canceled, but we're supposed to be going the 16th, so. See how that goes.
that got canceled because of me, just so you know.
I know it did.
Sorry.
I was gonna bring it up.
I have nothing.
All I have is the committee, the planning, not the planning board, I'm sorry, the ZBA, thank you. The ZBA had one special exception that was approved this past week. So there was only one case.
Perfect.
Town administrator report.
TA.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay, we'll start with the Old Home Day Parade because it was mentioned anyways. So I was bringing that back up so that we can firm up some plans for those that can be there or want to be there. So it's Saturday. Originally, most people were indicated they wanted to go. The one change is that I got approached by the committee. And they asked me to be the grand marshal this year to celebrate my years of service to the police department. So
Okay.
I did obviously accept that position to be the grand marshal, which in turn takes my car out of the mix.
I can drive.
No, I'm driving it. Plus there's nobody in front of me. I don't have to worry about it.
So you just have a grand marshal sign.
Yeah. So, which I am completely honored, for being selected by the committee. But I also wanted to bring that up with you folks so that we could talk about what arrangements you guys want to make. Andy offered to bring it, triaxle. Could hang out the back of it, or
You sit on the top of it, I'll sit on the. I'm actually not gonna be there, but
oh, okay,
Okay.
all right.
plans come up, or something come up, so I won't be there Saturday.
Were you bringing your car?
Yep. I'll bring one of my cars.
Brock, you were bringing yours, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet what's gonna happen.
Okay.
I'll be there. I just don't know what. I might be with Nick.
Want to take the black one, the Camaro?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll take the IROC.
Okay.
I'll follow you guys.
If you can keep up.
All right, then you guys follow me.
You, who's riding in the Corvette?
Maybe, I'm not sure yet. I'm not really sure.
Mr. Shea, would you like?
You like to ride with me?
Or you could drive one of my cars. It's up to you.
Whatever works for you.
You want to hop in with me in the vet?
You don't want me to drive my exciting Subaru Legacy?
Actually, you
It's up
know
to you.
what? Perfect. Here it is. You give him for the grand marshal, he's gonna take the Subaru. We'll take the Camaro, right?
Sounds reasonable.
But you're more than welcome to ride with me as well.
All right. And this is at Jones Field,
Letter S Road.
Letter S Road.
Starts. Letter S where Highway Department is. They're
right?
gonna line up all along Letter S because it's a.
Okay,
it's a
right along the
shorter route
road.
This year.
Okay.
It is.
A lot shorter route.
What's it coming up 140 and then down? Down?
No, it's just going right out
Letter
Letter
S.
S to the bay.
Into the bay.
It's not going through town?
No.
Really?
They shortened it.
They're shortened
They
it.
shortened it because they weren't getting walkers and they wanted to end it into the bay. They,
Well, remember last year it was blazing hot.
Yeah, it was.
Those poor people.
I
by the
know.
time they
Long-
get to the bay, that's a.
Then they had
It's
to
a long
walk
walk.
all the way. I
It's a long
picked up, I felt.
I know, I remember smelling my clutch. Yeah.
I did
I
too.
think everybody remembers.
I could smell it
I
too.
thought it was antifreeze I smelled. I wasn't sure.
No, that was clutch. I could smell.
There's also
We, you,
car parts.
you and I talked about
Yeah,
it.
we did. I picked up car parts. I don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, number two.
Number
Go
two.
All
on.
right, so we're good with that. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
All right, so a lot of this, some of this stuff is FYIs. So short-term rentals, in your book, you got a packet that was provided from planning with the final changes
Mhm.
to the whole packet.
Yep.
That public hearing has been advertised and scheduled for our next meeting on 8/22. So this is just to get you to make sure you have the paperwork in preparation for the
Looks
meeting.
good.
8/22. That's pretty much everything that we've discussed.
Great.
So,
The next one, again, this is an FYI. So the county delegation decided that with the rest of their ARPA funding for Belknap County, they're going to disperse it equally between every town. So the county is going to give us $20,000 of ARPA funding. Because we need to accept that, a donation over $10,000, just like we accepted our ARPAs, we have to do a public hearing. So that public hearing is going to be advertised for 9/12 would be the meeting after that. And that would just be the acceptance of the gift of $20,000 of ARPA funding. We do not have any restrictions on what we can use that for. County has asked for a memo to broadly describe what we might use it for. One of the ideas I came up with, and the board can obviously come up with something else or some other language between now and then. But just for food for thought, the memo that we drafted didn't send anything, honestly. But the drafted one was that the funds will be used to booster benefits for hiring and retention of employees. And then that way I figured it might be also used to offset some of the increases that we had made.
Mhm.
But if the board chooses to, I mean, we don't necessarily need that 20 grand for that. We can also put it in for infrastructure at Rosa. You can keep it abroad.
Mhm.
We just sort of need to give them, they just want some.
They need some
accounting
sort of
because-
idea.
Yeah, in case they get audited. So something to think about, but again, that's a public hearing on 9/12.
9/12. Okay.
The other thing is, I would like to publicly announce and recognize Jack Housel, the highway foreman, on his 10-year anniversary with the town. Also Aaron Lowell, light equipment operator for the DPW, has reached his 10-year mark with the
Wow.
town. So
Wow.
we do have some longevity there. And
That's fantastic.
Scott has recognized them with some certificates. But I also wanted to make sure that we publicly recognized them and the board was aware of everything as well.
They're doing a fabulous job. Can't believe it's been 10 years already.
Next one is, there's a memo in front of you here. There was a request to, when we talked about the 10% increase, there was a mention of vacancies.
Mhm.
So here is a list of the vacancies that were verbally discussed. And one other one that occurred the same night. So you got 4 police officers, the one military, the one that was, that's out on military leave. He's been on military leave for roughly a year, due to come back sometime after the 1st of next year. And then the 4 police officers. So we have a ground and maintenance laborer's position. Solid waste has a laborer part-time seasonal, which is 40 hours a week in the summer, but only for the summer months.
Mhm.
Public Works has a assistant mechanic truck driver position that is vacant, 1. And then they have 2 additional light equipment operators, truck drivers. And then the board was made aware the very same night of the vacancy of the police chief or fire chief's position.
Okay. Thank you for supplying that.
Mhm.
When we do, I assume we do exit interviews when we lose an employee. Do we determine, or are we able to determine whether the reason for departure is because of raises inadequate or benefits
Yes.
that are inadequate? And do you see that being the case for some or all of these people?
for most all of them, there was a component. Some of them, the sole component was money. Some of them was money and better schedule, better, I'm just giving hypotheticals of people that have left that I know personally have left for, one was a significant pay bump, but also it was shift work. And they like the idea of working a different shift than day shift. And then I know Scott spoke directly to some of his people and his stuff, and his is primarily money. Significant bumps to the pump to the private sector. Any other questions on that one?
At this point, I don't even think it's just the private sector. I think it's a lot of poaching going on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
A
Definitely.
lot of it.
Yeah, we're competing hard with our neighbors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing I wanted to make you aware of. This is going to be, I had to speak with legal counsel about this. So I was approached by a surveying company in town that is doing a survey on a lot on the corner of Spring Street and Rand Hill Road. That White House that was been there forever. They're doing a survey trying to get some work done there. Come to find out during the due diligence period when they're digging in 1850, the town rebuilt Rand Hill Road and never discontinued the old road. So the old road on the survey map runs right through his front lawn, almost into his foundation. So because that legally was never discontinued and it still is in paper form, even though it's not been used or whatever, he can't get a septic design or anything else because the rest of the entire, I mean, it's a postage stamp lot. The rest of the property, it belongs to the old road. We pulled some minutes out of the Clough books. They're not really clear. They took it up in a warrant article in 1950, March of 1850, long time ago.
Wow.
1850. The article read to vote to see if you want to discontinue the old road starting at the foot of Rand Hill to the old Jonathan something property, and basically they were referring to that whole stretch of road, but they basically tabled the item to reconvene at a later date. So they reconvened in April of that same year after the March meeting. And the only thing there is for minutes is that take up the issue of the discontinuance of the old Rand Hill Road. And then it says action taken comes down to motion made to dissolve this meeting. So I called counsel to sort of get them up to speed with what they're deciphering. Did he think there was a Scribner's error in the minutes or something along those lines? And he said, no, it actually sounds like they took the matter up. There was no action taken, so they dissolved the meeting. He said, but it's hard with minutes from that date. So in order for us to rectify the situation, we have to actually put a warrant article together on the warrant this year and see if the taxpayer is going to dissolve the old road. So mainly it would be a housekeeping issue, but it's an FYI for the board going into this budget season that when you see this warrant article on there, that you might have some background information on it. And who knows? I mean, the town could deny it and that old road could stay on there.
There's no other way around that for him?
I asked if there was another way that we could do it, but
I would think by adverse possession, the property owner would have owned it.
I think they
as
would have recourse if the town decided they weren't going to
1857.
approve the warrant article.
Right.
I can't imagine with the circumstances that they wouldn't, but he would have more. I think he would have more grounds at that point in time to go after the whole.
Has Scott been plowing it?
No, the old road. No.
It's
The
probably
old road,
8 feet
he
under the
put-
ground right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not there. It's non-existent now.
if the old road, if he followed the path of the old road, I think he would at least take 6 feet of the foundation out too. So basically where that corner is, where we had all the flooding by Camp Adventure when it comes in, they cut that in when they rebuilt it. The main road, the old road, swooped that corner really wide. And that's what ended up happening.
Right.
It actually goes across some of the Christian Conference Center campground area. Is basically it encompasses
So long.
probably another 25, 30 feet into that corner. So we just, as a housekeeping
Okay.
issue, we're gonna end up having to,
Put that out
it
to
on
the general
warrant,
public
see if
on
we
the
can
warrant.
Get it
Okay.
dissolved. I think, hopefully it'll go through very smoothly and.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm. Um. Next one is, I did provide you with an email from Rob today, our assessor, and some information. I just thought it was important to let the board know, especially with the actions that we've taken recently with the 10% increase and stuff, and the questions that you might be getting out in the public.
Mhm.
Rob broke this down today.
This is directly from our assessor.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, it sure is.
These are not numbers or projections that I make.
Right.
No, this is. right.
Yeah, he takes great pride and put these numbers together. So basically what you're looking at is the anticipated, so the current 2022 rate for the town is $3.91.
Mhm.
The anticipated rate is going to be $3.56, which is a reduction of 35 cents in the anticipated town rate.
Okay.
So that should help a lot of people that are looking or looking to the board or asking questions, that we can make these changes as long as we sustain on other ends. I mean, that's not to say that we're going to throw caution to the wind when it comes to the operating budget or warrant articles. Those are all going to be attacked
Mhm.
and cut and reduced as much as we can.
As
Now,
much as
is
we
this-
can.
This is without even buying the rate down, right?
Oh, yes, this is
without even putting any money.
this is with nothing from the,
I would say that's pretty good.
That's pretty
job.
good.
Yeah.
It's 35 cents.
Primarily attributable to the increase in the town value, I would assume.
absolutely. There is, obviously we've had record highs of building permits in the last 2 years. But the other thing is, I mean, you can talk about record highs with building permits, but you can also talk about record building costs.
Mhm.
Because some of those building permits alone crested $8 million.
I just got my boat out, like I said, for the first time, I think, and I'm leaving the bay looking, and every time you drive down the bay and there's a brand new mansion going up every.
They're
50,
everywhere.
100 feet.
Mm.
I'm like, holy cow.
There's some very impressive homes that are going.
There's
up.
one going right on the corner that I was like, somebody's got a very, very nice house going in.
So yeah, obviously those type of lake houses and that type of construction, it has a strong drive on increasing our assessment. But overall, I think it's in the experience we had with the reval and stuff like that. I mean, there is some a lot of the abatements, you see them come through.
Mhm.
The stuff, a lot of them are some of the waterfronts, and you're talking about small swings that have big impacts. But, for the most part, the other, rates of people and assessment values, you're not seeing really those kind of abatement complaints with when you're talking between $900,000 and $450,000. So, and again, we can't control the rate we can't control the assessment. But based on that, obviously, you got those kind of properties going in and you got that kind of value increase. There's going to be an expectation of services too that go along with that. And that's what we're addressing on the other end, because those services are going to seriously decrease if we can't start filling these positions.
Right.
Mhm.
I know Scott's sitting in the audience right now, and the only thing he's got on his mind is the first snowstorm. Because we ain't got plow, we don't have plow
And
drivers.
it's not that far away.
But again, I think it's important for me to try to give you guys as much fuel as you can when you're out in the public, talking to the public.
Mhm.
So you can provide them with. the
That's very
information.
helpful, and thank you for that.
When are we due for another reassessment? Do you know?
It's every 5 years, so I think we did. I want to say it's 2028.
Okay, so it'll be a while.
Yeah. But these new assessment projections, this is from Rob going out and picking up new constructions already.
Yep.
So. Next thing I have that I have to bring forward is, so the elevator approval,
it went, the elevator approval was for, accessibility. Is that what it was? Okay. Accessibility systems, that's what it was. And the reason why I had to bring this back in front of you is that company merged with Nationwide Lifts, because it's a nationwide company. So in the midst of the contract and things being executed, they merged into this company. So I'm bringing it back forward. The price is the same. They honored the price, didn't change anything, but it's in a new company. The W-9 is for a new company name, and that's who we're paying. So
Okay.
I wanted to bring it back to the board to make sure that you are comfortable with reissuing it to Nation Lifts based on the fact that the two companies have merged.
Nationwide lifts.
I don't know why we'd have any issue with that.
No.
No, there's
Simple
no
name
issue here.
change, or you dealt with the
Nope.
same people, no problem, right?
No
It's fine.
issues, right? You just
No.
need a general,
I just need a new vote to issue.
new vote?
To, you know, to agree to or approve the contract for 88,459 to Nationwide Lifts.
I make a motion that we approve $88,459 to go to Nationwide Lifts to install the new elevator in town hall.
Second.
any further discussion?
Do we need to repeal the previous motion? Award it to somebody else? Or are we covered there?
No, I don't think
I
so.
mean, they backed out of it on their own.
Okay,
So, I mean, but if you know what, it doesn't hurt. So we might as well put it on the record.
Yeah.
So if you want to make a motion.
Make a motion to that in your motion to repeal.
Okay, so you want me to amend to repeal
Repeal.
the prior motion made to give the contract to the other lift company? What was it? Accessibility.
Controls.
Mhm.
Accessibility controls.
Okay, I add to that motion that we rescind our contract with accessibility options controls.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I butchered
All in
that.
favor?
I,
Aye.
Hi. And we made it. Well done.
Okay. Okay, we don't have any minutes this evening. We do not have the consent agenda. So we go right to discretionary action on requests of appointments. First one is David and Jean Clem. Route 11D drainage.
Has anybody been up and looked at this? I haven't.
I haven't.
I just saw a video of it.
Okay.
They've sent me a video during the flood. Actually, Scott might have gone up. You go up to 11D or they just come talk to you?
They came and talked to me and I talked to them myself. I reviewed the video. What's your thoughts on it? Yeah. Constructed and I believe
15.
And the house is directly in front of a state drainage culvert, which was installed by the state of New Hampshire.
Hold on, can we have him come up here? Does he have to say it into that?
We're not even supposed to have a discussion on.
Oh,
this.
it's
This
not
is-
a
This is
discussion.
only a vote whether we approve it or not.
We're gonna make a decision whether we bring this to the table or not.
I know, but it's still a majority vote is requested, but not a decision at this time or discussion.
We're not making a decision. I just want to hear what the
Well, I-
reason is.
okay. I'm just going by the rules. It says no discussion. It was just simply, do we say yes or no? For the request?
I think that be in our best
Well, if I
interest
say-
to.
That's fine.
listen.
Whatever you want to do.
No, if I say no, then we don't, or if we say no, then we don't even
We don't even hear it.
hear about it.
No. We say yes, he comes and he has 10 minutes to speak.
I would move that we say yes.
Okay,
Yes,
do we,
Here, I guess.
all right, so do we have a motion or do we do a road call?
No, you don't. have to do
Not
a
necessarily.
Motion. I just, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I did talk to legal counsel about this.
Mhm.
And a lot of other complaints that have come in. And the feeling is that obviously
drainage that predates the construction of a
Mhm.
home in that location. That drainage was part of that road when it was taken over by the town.
Okay.
In the seventies, I've been told mid-70 era. That, they had a responsibility that the town is not, basically, legal counsel said,
Mhm.
regardless of their responsibility, the town is not liable for any stormwater or any sort of drainage feature that may be overtopped or can't handle the volume of water during inclement weather or flood storms. But
That's
by all means,
the only reason I wanted to hear Scott's opinion,
No, and I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just.
because I actually knew the answer, so.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So do we have a motion to,
We don't need motions, do we? Or is that what we're?
You need a motion to approve the appointment.
and what we're saying is no.
Well, there's an emotion on the table. I don't think we've had, I think Richard made the motion to let him have the meeting.
My thought is I don't like to be in a situation where we tell citizens and taxpayers, we don't want to hear from you.
I agree with that. Let's
And
let him talk.
unless
then.
they,
Just wanted to-
we have gone and explained everything to them that we're aware of.
So we have a motion on the table to approve him to speak. Do we have a second?
We already did, didn't we?
No, we didn't. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Richard. We'll hear from him.
He owes me a lot of seconds.
Yeah.
All in favor on listening,
Time limit, Mr. Chairman.
time limit for, usually no more than 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, so we have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
So that's how many noes? Two noes, 3 yays. Okay, the second one is Dustin Fortier, stop sign removal request.
I think with Stockbridge Corner Road, no matter what you do with any kind of a sign, you're gonna have some people that want it and some people that don't. We went through quite a bit of
Mhm.
discussion to decide to put the sign there because the perception was that it was a dangerous intersection.
Mhm.
And I don't know if we have records that show multiple accidents or not, but in fact, I don't think there was any opposition to the stop sign proposal the night that we heard from the public about it.
Yeah.
Since then.
No, I don't think so.
This gentleman.
That's
an
That's a good
issue.
point.
I'm pretty sure everybody was in favor of it at the time, I believe, including him.
But I can't.
He
remember.
was in favor?
I don't know if they were,
I don't know if we,
I don't think they were here the night you guys made that change because that was based on, so we had the hearing,
Right?
heard all the residents. And then a few months later, when we were still trying to deal with the telephone pole issue,
Mhm.
there was another big crash. And
We
the
were-
resident that lives on the corner sent a bunch of photographs to the board.
Yep.
And I brought those to you about there was another crash at that intersection. So when there actually was the vote on the stop signs, I don't think anybody was in the.
is there any other way to make that safer there without putting a stop? I mean,
Go back to the way it was.
yeah, no, I'm just saying to make it safe. I mean, the way I feel right now is we haven't had any accidents there.
Right, I think we went through all our options except for moving the pole.
Except for moving the
The
pole.
moving the
But other
pole.
than that, that was the best option.
The best option was to put the stop sign in, and it's 2 stops.
Correct.
The stop on Valley Road and stop on Stockbridge
On
Corner.
Stockbridge, yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 stops.
and all those crashes that we were talking, the far majority, I want to say, go on record saying all of them. But the far majority of what were brought to your attention were yield related crashes.
Because that's what they were complaining about, that Stockbridge had that yield sign.
Mhm.
But people would dart across Stockbridge to continue on Stockbridge,
Mhm.
thinking they had it right away and they'd get T-boned by Valley Road.
Right.
And drove right into that guardrail. And that's the photos you saw that day was somebody coming off of Stockbridge. Realistically, from, looking at it from the, DPW director's point of view, but also from a law enforcement point of view. I mean, the only way to prevent that or restrict it is, one, increase visibility at the intersection, which the pole prevents all of that. And the only other way is to create or make.
Yeah, because they went down.
Stop, or stop.
Because they went down and cut the trees, DBW went down and cut all the trees to try to get as much visibility.
Yes. Visibility.
Visibility.
That word.
Yeah, I know. To see, so that was. We did every, because I remember I'm just trying to go through my head.
Yeah.
And you know what?
We did everything, we did everything.
Everything but moving the pole back.
If Eversource finally moves the pole, then we can revisit removing the stop sign, I guess.
So again, the question is, yeah, this is that he's looking for discussion on the removal of the stop sign. That's what he's looking for. Discussion on that, or
And his issue was, I understand it, as I recall from when he approached the board, was it's noisy when
Mhm.
people accelerate away from the stop sign, but
I understand where he's coming from,
Yeah.
but it's six, you have to, there has to be a common ground here. I don't know, leave this up to you fellas.
oh, do we have a motion to approve him for a 10-minute discussion? Or not?
The only, I'm holding back. The only reason I'm asking the question is he wants to talk about completely removing the stop sign. That is not an option. Removing the stop sign is not an option. So we can't take it out right now, correct? We cannot take it out. Right?
Technically you could, but.
I think we could take it out.
Accident reason.
So we
Like,
put-
Should we?
You would have to return the yield sign.
Yeah.
Or you'd make it.
And I think
completely
that's what
change-
that's what he's asking.
We would revert back to a yield sign.
Yes.
Is what he's after.
Yeah, that's what I think
See,
the
I
way he
don't-
wants to
I
go.
don't know about the,
But
Yeah,
we listen
accidents.
to him for 10 minutes and
hear what he's got
see
to
what
say.
say, then explain why.
I don't have a problem with him coming in and talking, I don't.
I make a motion that we grant Dustin Fournier 10 minutes to talk about the stop sign at the corner of Stockbridge and Valley Road.
Okay, second. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay. Yes on both. Public input. Seeing nobody here, we'll close the public input and I make a motion to enter into non-public meeting per RSA 91-A:3(2). Under